So they got a microphone for you over there. Can everybody hear me okay? Sometimes the microphone's good for people. If not, you can hear me just fine. I'll talk about this loud the rest of the day. So this works for you. Can you hear me? I'll grab the mic.
Check, check. Is that good? Crystal clear? Alright, I'm just gonna hold it like this. Is this okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Cool. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Salzman. This is my first time ever coming to this event. Let me try and see if I get away from the speakerphone. Is this good? Okay, cool. All right. My name is Nick. I'm from Hillsborough, so about 4 hours north of you guys. Came down here. My son had a football game last night against Grand Pass. What a beautiful community you guys have down here. So if you guys are from here, I can see why you love it. So this is my first time here. Hoping to give you guys some stuff today that maybe you haven't heard before. How many of you guys have ever heard about housing? 1,000. How many of you guys have ever heard of housing? No? How many have you ever known, maybe someone in the family, where there'd be a person back in the day that would walk across the field with a stick, and then they found a spot to drill where water is? That's dowsing. So dowsing is something that's inherently an ability that we have access to. And the cool thing about it is not only it can tell us what our environment is like, or what's in our environment, but it can also help us navigate through. And it can help us strengthen our intuition. And so what I'm hoping today is to maybe give you guys some tools to help strengthen your intuition so that way your guys' each unique gifts kind of get enriched and come to space. Does that make sense? Cool. So dowsing is a general term. What I do is a little bit different. So I use the pendulum, and I teach people how to use the pendulum to strengthen their intuition. They're going to stand over here, it kind of screeches when I get close to that. I use the pendulum to help strengthen your intuition. When we strengthen that intuition, it helps open us up. And when it opens us up, we help align with who we really are inside. And when we do that, that's when everything starts opening up. So I use the pendulum. How I got into this was there was always something going on in my life. Every house I ever lived in was pretty much haunted. There was always weird things happening in every house I ever lived in. Then I was about 25 years old and I realized, well, maybe it's not the houses. Maybe it's me. Then I saw my kids when they were young and they started picking up on it. And that's when I really decided, you know what, I'm going to look into this. It always kind of stayed in the back of my mind. Experiences were there, but I never really did much about it. I was kind of looking at it, right? So once they started experiencing, that's when I started getting into it. So, I don't know, maybe some of you guys are resonate with this, I'll tell you about it. There's this sound that I would hear, and it would be very faint, but I would always hear it. It sounds like the house settling, or it sounds like a pop, it sounds like it's a slight little pop. If you're up in the middle of the night, or you're by yourself, you can hear the sound sometimes. But then, is it the house settling, but what if it's on a countertop? What if it's on a dresser? Is that a spot where the house normally settles? And why does it settle when only you're the only one awake? You're the only one around the house, right? So I had a couple teachers that I was talking to at the time. Hey, do you guys hear this? Have you ever heard of this? And they're like, no, but be careful. If you're telling people you're hearing stuff, it might make you crazy. So he was funny. He would like it. He was great. So I started hearing this everywhere where I would go. I would wake up in the middle of the night with my cell phone and do what most people do, start scrolling on my phone, I can't go back to bed, and then I'd hear right on the side of my wall. And it would take about a minute to get when I have my phone one side of the house to my bedroom with me. What the heck is that? But if I wake up and I pretend I was still asleep, it wouldn't happen. But as soon as I woke up, grabbed my phone and showed that I was awake, right on the wall. I started hearing this walking by cars. I started hearing it walking by concrete walls. Till eventually one night I went out to dinner and I was just kind of reading books left and right, trying to figure out. Hello? Can you hear me? This better? Cool. This good? Okay. So, one night I was at dinner, and I was kind of reading a bunch of different books, and I wanted to get a new book. And there was this little bookstore, and I walked in and started walking down the aisles, and I couldn't find anything. Nothing was in place. And just as soon as I was leaving, pop, right on this bookshelf. Sounded like someone hit it with a marble. It was loud. So I looked, okay, there's one gray book surrounded by a bunch of black books. I pull it out and it says, okay, People That Don't Know They're Dead by Gary Leon Hill. Interesting. I opened up that book and I started reading about the author. The author was from Eugene, and his accomplice who's in the book is from Nebraska. I'm from Oregon as well, and my teacher, my first teacher, is from where? Nebraska. So I said, okay, I didn't read anything else. I grabbed it, popped the book. Inside that book gave me my first introduction to how to use the pendulum to identify spiritual presences that are around you, not only that, but how to heal and clear them out. So that is where my introduction to the dowsing was. So this is my passion. This is what I really like to get into. So even though it's a wonderful world of dowsing and it kind of encompasses a lot of stuff, what I like to do is help teach people how to communicate with spirit, how to heal spirit, how to move things on. Because what you'll find if you do that work, there's a lot of really good benefits to it. It balances you, but really, the more that I've done this, you would get like the same kind of spirit coming to you with suicide over and over, another suicide, and another suicide. So eventually I started asking, why is it the same ones that are coming all the time? Maybe because they have something in common with me. We share something particularly on a subconscious level or emotional. So why does the big dark shadowy figure show up to us and make us feel all scared and stuff? Maybe it feels abandonment like we do. Maybe it feels forgotten like we do. Maybe it feels forsaken. Maybe it just doesn't know what the heck to do and how to move on. Very stuff. Maybe it's scared. It's scared that if you pick up on it, you're going to burn some sage, you're going to banish them, you're going to cast them out. But what if we turn around and say, hey, you know what? I see you, and I can help you. Help them. Become service to them. If we do this, then we align with the angels. If we do this work, we can turn around and basically be. Do you guys believe that family trauma can be handed down? Do you guys believe that family healing can be handed up? What if you yourself at this time, or like a prayer for your family? Pray for your ancestors come here at this time. Wake up. To see that chain of trauma that you were going into, to take the brunt of that trauma, and break that chain. Change the cycle. Who are you? What's your real purpose? That's what this is all about. Learning how to find truth and let it guide you. Is it easy work? Is it fulfilling? Beyond measure. Can we all individually do a little something that can help? Yeah. Does it have to do what I do? Absolutely. Cool thing is, what we're going to learn today, you guys are going to use it as a tool, and I hope that you can put it into whatever method you guys are into and have it work for you in its own way. So, the pendulum, get back to the pendulum. So if you guys come to my table, I've got a few different shapes. That these shapes basically generate certain frequencies or certain colors. Some people are familiar with like color therapy and that kind of stuff. Same kind of concept. So the different colors have different advantages to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to do the clearing, but we use the pendulum as kind of like a tool to give us leverage. Now some people will say you can use any pendulum for it, doesn't matter. It's yes and no, depends on what you're doing. So for me, over the past 12 years, I've dissected using these different colors to figure out what they're good at. What are they not good at? What do I get the most response from by using these things? So what I'm trying to do is give you guys a streamlined approach to it, right? So what I'm going to say is, first of all, this one, the blue one, this is what I like to use for any time we're dealing with anything that deals with worry, grief, kindness issues. And this stuff works really good. So if any of you guys are familiar with Reiki, same kind of principles and concepts. You use your hands, right? You use that hand, you don't have to touch them. But the same thing, if you hold that pendulum over it, the light from your hands interacts with the shape of the pendulum to help give us leverage, right? If I took a baseball and I threw it as hard as I could, how far would it go? If I took that same baseball and I hit it with the bat, am I still using my energy? Am I using it now at a certain point where that leverage is now harnessed at a certain point and I can make the trajectory go farther? That's the pendulum. Harnessing it to a certain point, making your trajectory. Okay? So, the glaring part that comes to this, how many of you guys have ever heard of a Ho'oponopono? Okay? So Ho'oponopono, to me, has worked really, really well because the focus of Ho'oponopono is we have shared experiences on the soul level. Whether this be traumas that we've had, whether this has been emotions, we all share experiences. So even if there's someone that's really difficult in your life, or even a crazy person that's homeless and bounced off the hood of your car in custody, you have something in common with them. There's a reason why they're in your life right now, right? So there's basically what Ho'oponopono is. It's a reconciliation. It's an ancient form of reconciliation of Hawaiian. Pono means good or right. So it's to make amends is what this is for. And there's 4 main phrases that go with Ho'oponopono. That is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. Now these words, these aren't just words, these are words that there is an emotion that comes with these words, right? Someone you love tells you, I love you. Someone that's wronged you says, I'm sorry. Someone, maybe you wronged you, please forgive me. Something good comes, happens your way, and you take a moment. Thank you. All of this shifts a lot of stuff within here, and a lot of stuff within here, okay? So this is the background of what we're doing with this game. We are focusing on what do we have, okay? Now there's a breath work. How many of you guys have ever done like any kind of conscious breath work? I know there's some others in here that know all about breath work. Yes. So there's meditation, there's different kinds of breath work. I use a breath work that's called the HOG, and basically what that is you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and when you exhale, you hit from the diaphragm and you make it. And then you hold it for 4 seconds. So, combine this with Ho'oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So I'm doing the breath work while holding that intention in my mind. Okay? So this is how we can tap into the subconscious. This is how we can send healing energy. This is how we can really understand it and wait with compassion. Because when I turn my perspective from going, okay, let me scan this person, what's going on over here, what's this imbalance, it only gave me part of it. When I just instantly just said, okay, what do we have in common? Sometimes you don't feel hurt. Sometimes you feel stuck, or that maybe you're not going in the right direction. Sometimes all you want is just a moment to do it. And when I can see what we got in common, I know you very well. Because I know me. If we know each other this way, by seeing what we have in common, it allows us to make our choices with much more compassion. And if you let compassion and love really guide your choices, you elevate yourself. And guess what you do to everybody else around you? Don't take time to. But this stuff isn't necessarily all about sunshine and rainbows too. Because when you start this work, when you start doing this work, and you genuinely just want to help people, you genuinely want to help take away people's suffering, you want to be able to allow people to step into better health, clear thought of mind, just hopefully feel love in their life. A lot of different this kind of things can make changes in people's life. When you set your intention to do this, and you say, hey, you know what? I really want to do this. I don't know whatever I was doing with life. I'm done with it. But let that will be done for me. I'm going to tell you, be careful what you wish for. Because you will see the shattering and the death of everything else around you that used to be all of a sudden just to be fulfilled and blossoming in a completely different direction. Is it painful? Yes. Necessary? But it's also really fulfilling. Okay? So when we do this work, let's just say, for instance, we have an earthbound spirit in the house, whatever. We got a deceased family right now. In fact, actually, what I feel more called upon right now, I want to connect with somebody here in the audience. Anybody here open to, maybe you got something going on tonight in your house and want some clarity on it? Yes, you. What's your name?
Lori?
Lori? It's cool if I check it out?
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So this is kind of how I work now. This is usually the work that I do. I'm a tattoo artist by trade, so I get to really learn almost a full tattoo. And then when they leave, it's usually not even about the tattoo. So, back to Lori. What I'm hearing right off the bat sounds like the cover of something closing, right? You got something slamming stuff at your house. Now, the room that I'm looking at right now, it feels like a kitchen area because it's like linoleum, and I think is this either the basement or the stairway going up, and then there's the, looks like entrance going outside. Is that the kitchen I'm looking at? Now, is that a basement, or is the staircase going up?
There's a back porch that goes back out, that kind of step down.
Okay.
It's an add-on to the house itself.
Now, the room, maybe this is a hallway, the room that has the light that has a little glass, has a little glass cover on it, it looks kind of a yellowish light. Is this the one that you guys are getting issues with?
Yeah.
Okay, does it like flicker? Does it?
I wouldn't really know. I don't tend to go down. I don't know.
And let me ask you this, whose room am I looking at right now that has, it looks like one of those blankets you would have when you swap meet, it looks super soft and comfortable, and have like a camera print in front, you know what I'm talking about? Whose room is that?
That's this one.
That's this room, okay? So what I'm looking at right now is you definitely have something at home. This is what I would consider to be non-human entity, right? A lot of people, let's actually talk about this right now. This is a huge subject of fear for a lot of people, and I want to help kind of throw a little bit of a,
Very.
not
Yeah, I sit down.
come on, Maxie. So, this has been a big passion of mine lately. So when I was a kid, and I mean younger than 4 years old, these are the first things that I ever encountered. And I had no idea what I was looking at, but I knew that they weren't people like you and me. I went to a church and I learned about this place called heaven and this place called hell that we can go to after we die. And I had a cool pastor at the time, and I said, hey, can I ask you a question? When we die, is it possible to not go to heaven or go to hell, and we can actually stay here? And if there's other stuff that's here that's not like you and me, and he just kind of didn't really give me much of an answer other than I think what the Bible says and what we believe. So I knew right then and there I was going to get the information because there was really something else going on in my life that I couldn't really describe to people, right? So the jinn, what are they? They're a nature spirit. They are actually closer to angels than not, but they're on opposite sides of the light spectrum. If angels and jinn are both made of ultraviolet light, angels would be the ones that are made of like the blue, the yellow, the white, which is why I think we associate them among the clouds because that's the color spectrum that we see up there. Now the jinn, they're comprised of infrared ultraviolet light. And what can that do? Penetrate deep into the earth. And if that's something that I think helps give the understanding that there's an underworld of hell, and that's what the jinn are. So whenever you guys go to foreign countries and they talk about spirits of the jungle, spirits of the forest, spirits of the caves, this is all them. Gnomes, fairies, jinn, it's all them. Elementals, slips, salamanders, undines. It's all on the tent trying to say the same thing. What these are, the spiritual being that's pure consciousness that was here before we were here. But here's the thing, they can affect our dreams. They can get into our dreams. They can give us certain feelings, right? Whether it be anxiety, headaches, shortness of breath. But you have to understand, they are stuck. They can't move on, and this is their way they understand how to survive. Is they make us trigger, and we produce emotional energy, and they use it as sustenance. They can't move on from where they're at. It's kind of like a mosquito. I don't want to call them a mosquito because they're much more advanced and smarter than that. They move at the speed of thought. All you have to do is think. I can think about one, and I can have it join me in an instant, just because of how fast they're moving. They have a lot of the upper hand spiritually in the dream world with us, but here's where it's different. You and me have a physical body. You and me have a spark of the divine, spark of the creator. They are pure consciousness of the creator. We literally have a piece of the creator in us, and that gives us serious capabilities. Having a physical body gives us a very strong electromagnetic field. If I can just put it bluntly to you, we have more feet in more worlds. We bring more to the table. So because of that, a lot of them remain hidden. People have heard these things really bad. There's been a lot of magical practices of binding and trapping and banishing that have been done to a lot of these things. And I don't get mad at people for doing that just because people only know what they know, right? So these are the methods we've used before, but now we can actually use love, guide with love. And so many of the field that they have fallen into this shadow. They have fallen into this place where they can't escape. They are desperate to get out there, desperate to move on. And let me tell you, have you guys ever seen the movie Moana? Okay, the movie Moana. Okay, so Tikal, the big rock monster, right? That is a demon. Little Moana, it's okay. Let her come to me. I know who you are. No, who you really are. Healed that demon on the spot, found out it was Tafiti, the nature goddess all along. I saw this and about fell out of my damn chair. Just because I'm like, they're telling everybody. They're telling everybody how to do this. So, why? Why do they come around? Well, they look like someone to come. Imagine going into a hospital, you're bleeding, you're looking for a doctor, and everybody's wearing scrubs. And every single one of them you go up to, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm billing. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm actually just a janitor. But they all look like someone that can help, right? How long is it going to be until you grab someone and you say, you need to help me now, I'm bleeding? And then they're going to say, the demon's here, get some sage. They need help. So the reason why we do this work is because they hold a lot of influence over people. This is what makes people do a lot of really bad stuff. Some of the worst things you can imagine that humanity does to people and children is greatly influenced. I'm not going to say that it's the devil's to blame, but what I'm saying is that you are extremely responsive to things that you don't have quite aware of. There's a reason why certain people have irrational fears. There's a certain reason why people experience this stuff more than others. But really, what it comes down to is if we learn to help them, we learn to understand what we have in common. And if we're willing to be of service, then our path kind of gets laid out in front of us. And if you avoid this work, if you've already been told to, then it'll usually start popping up around the people that you know. Someone you know is going to have something going on in their house. One of your friends will, your daughter just moved into a new place, their house is going to do it, right? Like, this is how it works. I went to the point where I used to look out and try and do this stuff. Then I kind of pulled back. Like I said, I tattooed for 11. 9 out of 10, guess who comes in with the speaker? But they come because it wasn't clear. So a couple of ways that we can pick up on these things, sometimes it's we can see them at the corner of our eyes. We see them, we look, we don't see them. Sometimes they could be being watched. But one common way that I don't think people are really aware of is they really like messing with their smoke alarms in the middle of the night. I heard a few people laugh. Right? That is one thing I do not like at all. All my smoke alarms going off at 3 in the morning. So, or they'll just beep, they'll just chirp. How come I was doing that? I just changed the battery 2 weeks ago, right? Well, yes, there's more going on than what you know. That's one way that they definitely pick up on it, but the pops I mentioned earlier, the sounds around the house where the house is settling, that's another way. So, I'm going to put this out there because I feel it's really relevant to the crowd. So, there is a certain type of jinn that's out there, a certain type of spirit. Have you guys ever heard of doppelgangers before? There's another name for them, they're called the Quarin. And they're the ones that can take on people's personalities, take on and mimic people. But even if they're in your dreams, you're always going to see something wrong about them. It'll be someone you love, but with a look like. You know what I mean? It's like, there's always something off about them. Maybe it's their smirk, maybe it's their eyes, maybe their hair. And they're going to do these things where it's like, you're going to see your partner or significant other, maybe they're cheating on you, or doing this other stuff, and you wake up, and they're over here. So, these guys, for me, because of the work that I do, I find this a lot on the subconscious. This is why it's hard to locate in the home, because you'll experience them in the home. You look in the home, and the home looks clear. But the subconscious, this is the places where you can get linked into when you dream. So this is where we can find them a lot. So when you talk about the subconscious, a lot of times it kind of goes over people's heads. So the hardest work that I do is taking something really complicated and hard to understand and put it in an easy format for you to understand. So what I'll tell you is, if you yourself were like a computer, brand new computer, state-of-the-art, best processing chip possible, you operated very well. Now if I took your computer and I opened up 40 windows on it, and I left it on for 3 weeks, what's going to happen to the system? That brand new computer is going to lag the system, right? So what we get to do now is we get to find the open windows from these previous experiences we've had in life, whether it be from childhood or from something beyond that. And we go in these windows, and not only do we shut them down, but we start looking to see who's in the crowd, and if there's anybody that wants to come on through. And you would be surprised if someone that's like this. So, story for you. Once again, I'm a tattoo artist. They'll probably see this video later as we talk about that. I had a fellow come in. He was coming in, get ready to do this throat tattoo on this big McDonald's throat. Definitely hard area to get tattooed, painfully. As I was trying to work, I had this vision of like working on his throat, not tattooing him, but like, Reiki, like working on his throat, right? And so he came in, and he's like, hey man, I was talking with my wife, would you please do some energy work for me? Man, I got you. I got you. I already kind of like saw it in my head, so we laid him down, and I got to his throat. And my hand just started kind of going wild. I looked at him and I said, brother, I said, what are you worried about? What are you so scared of? And he basically told me that he was scared to go back to prison. He had went there for a few months. I mean, obviously that environment's probably not really fun, right? But he said he woke up one night and he saw this massive 10-foot dark shadow, this big blob sitting in his cell, and it terrified him. He didn't want to go back there, right? Well, at that moment, doing this work, doing the breath work, we started enhancing this. You can see it, you just make that certain invitation. Pull it right to you, do the tattoo on him, send him on the way, clear this thing, and go home. That guy, the first time I tattooed him, was extremely difficult to tattoo. I made about an hour and a half into him, and it was a very hard experience for him. I did that work. He sat for $4.5 and I fell asleep on a tattoo. And that was when I really understood that there's something going on in the subconscious that really affects me. Now, the dangers. Let's talk about the dangers of this stuff. It will shatter your reality. The constructs that you have in your mind that help keep you safe, that say if this box fits here, just go in this box, it'll dissolve those boxes. It'll replace it with something different. But that's what I tell people, that's the real danger. And I'm just giving you guys like the truth. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it's all sunshine and rainbows. It's not really that bad either. But everybody's different. My experience might be different than yours. But going down and doing this work is gonna help you a lot. Getting better relationships, just understanding people who they are. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now. Let's take a few minutes. I want to hear any questions you guys have. Maybe you can help direct me a little bit. You guys got any questions about anything so far? Yes? So, the gym, same thing, meetings. So here's the so the specifics now, you got to understand they're about as diverse as we are as people, right? So some of them are going to identify as being gym, some of them are going to identify as being team, depending on what they just identify, right? And what time period they're being associated with. You guys ever heard of the Hat Man? The Hat Man? Shadowy figure with a hat? Yeah. And okay, well that's another Google, you'll find that's another one. How about anything with glowing eyes? Right? This is that. This is all in. And one of the other things that I'm showing up as is animals. Wolves and snakes particularly. I've seen them with spiders too, but wolves and snakes specifically. The very first time, right? The very first time I ever saw one, it was a wolf. And guess what my spirit animal is? You bet it is. So it's just kind of the way, for me, that's how it came to be. So demons, it's going to be the same thing. We haven't quite talked about how to clear them. I have some of my other videos, but basically they don't go to the light. You don't send them to the light, they don't go to the light. That's not their gift. But what we can do, without putting a label on it, you can just put them in their own dimension. But what you're going to need is you're going to need spiritual help with that too. So what we can do independently is we can heal them, take away their pain, take away their memories of pain, and then nourish them, make them feel full and content again. Then from there, we can call on divine assistance. So for me, I use the Holy Mother. The Holy Mother is who comes to me that I work with now. She has a lot of different names. But basically, like if you were in Egypt, she'd be called Seklet. If you were in Tibet, she'd be called Tara. If you were in China, she'd be called Kuan Yin. If you were in Hawaii, she'd be called Kyun Kyu. If you were a Catholic, she'd be called Mary. Right? It's the divine mother presence that's actually within us. She has the capability to take them to where they need to go. Now, If you choose to go down this path, you're also going to have to learn to accept that connection too, because you're going to need their help doing this work. So it's actually kind of cool because you get an opportunity to learn about your God and that connection, and it's all through one-on-one stuff. You can have someone say, "Oh, it looks like Archangel Michael's with you," Saint Germain's with you. You can see that, but to genuinely make that connection yourself. And then how do you decipher, is this real or is someone messing with you? What is your intention? If it's to connect, if it's to heal, you can have the biggest, darkest, scariest, meanest thing in the room with you. And you didn't do that, you knew how to heal it, and they will attack you. Yes. It's not attack. But they do like to be left alone. A lot of them do like to be left alone, but my promise to you is I'm going to help you with that. So the cool thing is when you start stepping in people's houses and you notice them, they absolutely notice that you notice them and they know you this way. So for me, this is what I get an opportunity to do, is really help people with, I can tell you kind of the nuts and bolts of how it all works, but really connecting and helping you step into a place of power would probably be more my intentions here. Help take away some of the fear. You can feel do you feel like the vertigo feeling too? Like the dizziness, yeah? Well, you're more right than not, I can tell you that. You're more right than not. Yeah, well, that's good. You're going to get a moment of clarity after this, though, and that young man, I know what you're talking about. But a schizophrenic, someone who's schizophrenic, that's a medium. That's someone that's a medium that's trained, right? So back in the day, those would be the people that be in the village that you would feed and make their house, and their only purpose in life is to be that connection with spirit. Here, you put them on medication, tell them what they're seeing doesn't exist, and walk away. So when I hear people that are schizophrenic, what are they usually bothered by? Exactly what we're talking about. Exactly what we're talking about. So, but at the end of the day, I'll get you one second. At the end of the day, I want you to chew on this real quick. People say, why? Why, if God was around, why would God do something like this? We've even heard who would ask God for permission to tempt us. If they were not here or around, what would we have to overcome? So I feel that their presence is absolute indication of God's perfection. They serve a very divine purpose, and they're very uncomfortable, but we can overcome them very easily. Yes, Miss. Yeah. This is great. What she's asking us is really great questions. I don't know if you guys heard it, but she's saying, okay, I feel touched. It doesn't feel negative to me. How do I know if it needs help? How do I know, you're open and you're okay with it, but you just want to know, what can I do with this, right? So I think the touches, like the physical sensations, I think really have to do with family members. Those are the ones that are really good touches a lot. Now, angels, I get the goosebumps and the tingles on the back of the head. That's how I know I'm hitting on stuff that's coming from the angels right now. When I'm dealing with the jinn, they get an elevated heart rate. They get sometimes a pain sensation in the head. It's like a pulse. It's in the temple, it's in the top of the head. Sometimes it even makes my legs a little shaky, right? But here's the difference, having to learn how to fine tune this. This is why I use the pen to help me understand what am I actually picking up on. I had a friend of mine that overdosed from fentanyl, and I remember I was reminiscing over his photos. I was in a bunch of long photos together, right? I fell asleep on a chair in my living room. I got up at like 1 in the morning, and I got to the top of the stairs in my bedroom, and I I just felt my heart was racing, and I just took a second of breath, and I was like, bro, I'm sorry, man. So this is where it changes. When you feel that fear, why am I being feared? Wait, who's behind me that is absolutely terrified that I'm picking up on it? This is how the coin flips. This is how we start stepping into our power. Is because we start learning how to decipher this. Now, I use the pendulum, but I want to show you guys a trick that I think all you guys can take with you. Okay? We're going to use the form of discernment, that we're going to use our body to sway. Anybody ever used the sway technique before? I feel like you might, yeah? Okay, but we're going to do it real quick. So what that looks like, you got the perfect position where you're at right now. I want you guys to take a couple breaths, relax. Now I want you to put your awareness either on the tip of your nose or on the center of your chest. If you have a hard time, touch one of those areas and then just remember that sensation. Now take that breath, relax. Now we're going to ask you a question and your body's going to respond in a certain way. I want you to pay attention to it. You can say it out loud or you can say it in your head. Universal knowledge, show me what is it. Yes, feel it. Notice how your body moves. And it might be slight, you might feel a certain pull or push. Things are clear. But if you guys are having a hard time feeling it, maybe take your back off the back rest. Now we'll say, okay, show me, what does a no feel? Anybody notice any difference, any sway, any tingle? Anybody care to share? You. You got that from your yes or your no? What did your yes feel? Okay, there you go. She felt it in her chest for a yes and in her back for a no. Okay, this is something that you start exercising these muscles. These muscles start laying ground to a lot of other good stuff, but really use this as a tool to help guide you. When you're asking those questions, is this friend or family? Is this a friend? No. Is this family? Yes. Is this my mother? No. Is this my father? Yeah, is it dad? I see him. He's a big guy, and he's very happy that we just made this connection. I teach teenagers how to do this stuff too, because I think it's really important in order to have that inner guidance, right? Especially when they have temptations to go do other stuff, hopping in cars and walking down alleys or just whatever, right? So I use this all the time, and you use this all the time too. It's going to help open up everything else. So if you have any questions about anything, I'm happy to answer. As you can see, I love talking about it. This lady has pearls. Do you know who she is? Because when I hear health worker, I think maybe it's someone who used to take care of, or someone in the building that used to be there when you work with that. If I was to look at this woman, if I was to look at her, I pick up on her on the small room, I think in any coffee. It's like a break room. Either way, she seems really sweet, but does she have dementia? Yes. Okay. So we get these little instances in our lives that help nudge us, right? So even if you don't know how to do the work, if you get a hold of somebody that does the work, you play a very important part in this, right? And then the way it works is we get used to helping connect people, and then they start coming to us, and then we start doing it for them. It's just a natural progression phase. We're wearing the pearls? Is she Catholic? Is it a rosary that I'm picking up on? You're Catholic, okay. Either way, yeah, we can connect more later if you want. This is a problem. Do you guys have any questions about anything? Anything I haven't talked about you want to hear? It's such a, that is a wide topic. And yes? You're good. What she's asking is if you know how to do this clearance, and let's say you know somebody that has an attachment, you think that has an attachment, but yet maybe they're not open to the help, what do you do? First of all, there's only one person that asks for permission. That's the only person that can have permission. But the way it actually works is we connect to their higher self. So what that higher self is part of our soul. We have a little bit inside of us, but we can't fit the entirety of our soul into a little body. We're gonna try and put a jet engine in a Matchbox car, it just wouldn't fit, right? So we get a little piece of it. So there's part of us that's already on that side. That is where the connection is made. So that connection, when you send it there, it comes down into the physical. So that's how the actual connection works. So I asked for permission from the universe knowledge, where you call God, source, whatever you want to call it. That's what I asked for permission for. This is where I work on a lot of kids that have like cancers and stuff too. And sometimes parents are doing everything they can, but if I ask them for permission, they might be Christian and not wanting to do that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to just ask for permission. If I get told no, then I do the next best thing, and that's preparing for transition. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. Words is another way of a visual representation. You see a lot of it usually get performed with like, oh, it's like dust and stuff, right? But then you see some stuff that's definitely not dust, right? So it's just like when I get these videos of like actually catching apparitions and like shadowy figures, right? People are like, oh, you're doing it with your hands, and you know what I mean? So you're never really going to convince people, but the people that are there in that house when the pictures made, you should ask them. You should ask them how it feels to be in that home, right? But I definitely think the orbs can symbolize something in the different colors of them too. So if you see something that's gray, typically it's talked about the down spirit. But not human spirit is usually around. If you see something that's along the lines of blues and greens, this is usually around some sort of, you're either healing or you're attracting something that's going to teach you how to deeply heal, which works really well for people in the medical field. Now, if you see anything that's like purple, pay attention. Because that's usually like ascended master level. That's someone that's there to teach you a lesson specifically. So, and it's usually really good, but they also operate on free will. So they'll hang out until you say, hey, you know what? I'm holding to your guidance. They can only do it with you, right? So, healer. Healing spirit, nature spirit, something along those lines would definitely be what I would say. Either you yourself are healing, and look at you, it sounds like you have some sort of helpful healer kind of spirit that's around. Yeah, I could talk about this for a really long time. Sure.
Physical part, my grandchildren. How would you about getting rid of it every time we get tempted and got tempted?
You're not going to have to. This is a shite. This is what you're doing. So these are the types of things that come through with these are black magic and witchcraft. This is really associated with. Now, you got to remember what they're looking for. They're looking for some sort of energy exchange. Right? Sometimes people look at blood. But more likely than not, they want sexual energy or they want anger. It's just like they can assimilate, right? But they also don't know that when you can tap in, you can get them good stuff. You get them good stuff is way better than any of that source energy. So even if they're both through, we can help them get back. It's not a problem at all. It's definitely something that when you get on the Ouija board and this kind of stuff, these are the things that come through. Scrying is another big one, right? Like looking at a sphere or a mirror, that kind of stuff. So scrying and the Ouija board are really old methods of spirit contact, right? It's something that they very much recognize. Same as using the pendulum, they very much recognize it. And that's what I talk about. You get your pendulum and you hold it and it starts like bouncing around and shaking, you're in the presence of it. That's usually a real subtle way that tells you you're in the presence of it. But I was telling her, you know, you handle this the best way possible, right? And just know that love really separates you from a lot of this stuff. You're like, hey, you know what? I know you're there, and I know you need help, and I know how to help you. Let me contact someone that I know that can. In the meantime, you're a guest here. Please be polite when you're in this house. Only talk to me. Leave my children alone. Don't get in our dreams. I won't hurt you. You have been hurt. They relax a lot. Or they'll start clicking with your electronics if they're not listening. Figured I had to throw that out there for you. Yeah, anytime you have the lights going off, it's an attempt at elevation. But it's because you look like someone that was really good. Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to connect with this so you aren't going to be obvious. You don't have to go there to do it, but you have to be able to do this work if you're going to connect this way that you're going to. That makes sense. And if you put up all walls and protections and barriers, you don't want to deal with it, then you start coming to you in your dreams because they're trying to get you to wake up to your purpose. And your purpose is to be that intermediary between heaven and earth and basically do the work of the angels before we can. Because we all play by our heart and all our stuff is really hard. Like I said, we have something in common with it. What I would say is if I don't know if you have a way of looking at what you might have in common with it, we all have something in common with it, no matter what it's here. And it might have been brought through, but a lot of them can't get back. This is why like mirrors are a big thing too. These people that go through mirrors, trying to get back to where they came from. Have you ever heard people having rooms that have mirrors in the break-ins, right? They're trying to get back home. So it's a very, really, I have a stick around, I'm full of tons of unpopular opinions. But all I can tell you is what I found out along the way. Very little of this I've actually read. This is all just like experiencing people. Sure, I'll tell you what, I'll do something for all you guys right now. Does that sound good? Cool. I'll have to put this down.
coming to the Enlightened Living Fair. Our 1 o'clock workshop is about to begin with Ernie Flores. The topic is shamanic healing. Again, the 1 o'clock workshop is about to begin with Ernie. The topic, shamanic healing. Thank you.
Just telling you this, like you're down. Cover-ups on tattooing. I have a very horribly attempted flower of life